Okay guys, so I don't know if you can see me. Welcome back to the channel and another episode on the 911. It's actually just right above the camera at the moment. I'm quite fired up at the moment because things are going pretty well. I've moved forward quite well on the engine last week, where I had 5 days off work, which was fantastic. You know, it really brings the project forward when you have like a concentrated time or amount of time that you can work on the car. So really pleased with that. So I have high aims for today. I would like to get the fuel rail, which is over there. I'd like to get that sanded back down, rust treated, and then put in the warmth overnight and then painted this weekend. I would like to clean up the plenum and get all of the seals nicely clean so that can go back on. And I also want to, what do I want to do? That, and how could I forget, of course, the calipers. So all 4 calipers, I'd really like to get those all cleaned up, treated, painted, and then I can start fitting the new seals, which I've got for them. So high aims for this weekend, and I'm going to get cracking because, as I say, quite exciting point of the project. So let's get started. Okay, so with the fuel rail, which by the way costs over £1,000 or dollars or euros, all seems to be the same these days. So it's not just something that you can quickly replace, and as you can see, mine has become quite corroded. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rub that down carefully with emery paper, using water as well. I'll probably remove some of these clips, and then I'm going to spray it with an etch prime. Oh no, actually what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to rust treat it first. So rust converter, rub that back down a little bit, put some etch primer on, and then put the top coat on. And what I'm going to use is a grey paint which I have, which is exhaust high temperature paint. So I think that'll do quite nicely for that. So just a reminder in terms of these cable clips, on this side with the fuel line, they go large, middle, small, and on the other side they go the other way, large, middle, small. Just removing these clips here carefully because they're quite expensive if you have to buy them again. I broke one on the engine and they're about £3 or £4 each. So what I've done is put some WD-40 on the underside, and I sort of take the pressure off them and then push them in with the pliers, he says, and just try and get them out without breaking them. The only thing is, you have to realise that they're, after years of being used on the engine, they're quite brittle because they've just been dried out so much. That one, the smaller ones come out more easily. And a bit, there we go. So yeah, it's a bit caked up under there. So that side's done. Cleaned this up, rubbed it down. I'll treat it with rust converter now, and I'm going to do this side. Okay, so I've cleaned these up as best I can with the emery paper and the Dremel, actually, being very careful of the connections or the inlets for the injectors. But now I'm just going to go over it with some brake cleaner just to get off the last bits of grease, and then I can paint them. I've had a thought about that because actually one side's worse than the other. Obviously where the oil leak was from the CCV valve, this one here was completely covered in oil and it's been nicely preserved. So I'm wondering actually if I clean them up, put some rust converter on them, and then just put some clear coat on. Maybe that's an idea. I'll have a think about it. Anyway, let's get these cleaned up. I'm convinced that modern aerosols, it doesn't matter whether it's WD-40 or anything like this, the pressure doesn't last in them at all. So I keep ending up with, some liquid in the bottom, but no pressure to get it out of the can, which is, I don't know if it's anything to do with the temperature, but I don't believe it is. I just think it's to do with penny pinching and saving money because the prices are rising on everything, but it really doesn't help us because obviously we get through cans quicker, some spray is left in, or liquid is left in the bottom, and I can't get it out. So, you know, short of stabbing a hole in it, which I have done with the WD-40, but it's just very short-sighted of production. You can hear there's just no pressure left in this can, but it's still like a quarter full. It's very annoying. Look at that. Bloody ridiculous. But anyway, I'm going to do this for a bit, get this nice and clean, and I'll be very careful of this end here. I don't want to get too much brake clean on here because obviously it will just dry out the rubber unnecessarily. But I'll get that cleaned up. Okay guys, so I've moved on from the fuel rail. That is actually down at the other building, which is heated. That's now drying because I've put some rust converter on it. And now I'm working on the calipers. So basically what I'm doing is cleaning all the nicks and scratches up and all the corrosion, of course. I'm going to go around and touch them in, and then I'm going to put some clear coat on. Okay, so I've just touched up the bad bits, which I rubbed down. A bit dark around here, but it's nice and warm in here. That's the difference. Done that the same here as well. I've also just covered this in a clear coat. So I don't know, it's let's see how that works out. It's pretty messy looking, but yeah, let's see. I mean, I might end up rubbing it down and putting it into you know, the grey heat-proof paint, but I think, yeah, it doesn't look too bad. Okay, so just giving the calipers their first coat. It's gone on quite nicely. In hindsight, really, you know, I should have just bitten the bullet and scraped off the Porsche sign, because I've gone to great lengths to cover up the Porsche sign, and you'll probably call me a fool for doing it, but I've done it. So let's see what it looks like when it comes off this cover here. It might look terrible, it might look okay, but let's see. Okay, so I've just given all these clips a bit of a clean up, and I have also, where is it? Yeah, given these seals a clean up, and they're feeling really good, and actually you can use them both ways round. So I've gone up and cleaned any kind of silt off. All of the edges are non-damaged, they're pretty pliable still, so I'm definitely happy using those. If it ever focus, I'm definitely happy using those again. So I'm going to go through now, and this phone is an absolute joke, it really is. It's so expensive to buy, and the camera is shockingly terrible. I know I keep going on about it, but it still annoys me, and because it's a work phone I can't change it. But look at this, look, you move things in and out and it just doesn't focus. It's terrible. It's an iPhone, I don't know what it is, which one is like one of the latest ones, but it's terrible, absolutely terrible. Okay, so they went in really nicely. Cleaning out the, I guess you'd call them gutters, you know, the recess where the gasket goes, really makes a difference as well. So I obviously cleaned it with a toothbrush and soapy water, and then I went round with the air gun, and then I think I put WD-40 in to get rid of any water that was still in there, and then also use some oil just to coat the seals in oil, and I'm really confident that they're gonna do a good job. I'm very pleased with those. So that is the Plenum ready to go back onto the car, which is very exciting. So thinking about it, there's no real reason why I can't put that Plenum back onto the engine, because it's not really going to get in the way of putting the injectors back in and the fuel rail. So I think that's exactly, does that get in the way? That's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to take these two small nuts out here. Don't know if they make a difference, but I'm going to move those anyway. I'm just going to put the Plenum straight on, because that essentially just seals the engine then, you know. There's no point having to put any more tape on or something like that. So I'm just going to clean that area. Sometimes the tape leaves like a residue. Okay, so let's see how this goes on. Ooh, exciting. So, it's not quite going on. What's stopping it then? That? Have I got it the right way around? Yes. That's the first question to ask yourself. Aha. That goes in there. Fine. Not quite sure. Maybe it's not quite the right time to put this on, I don't know. Now then, is it on? No, it's not on properly. All these little things I put on here a couple of years ago, these cable ties, so all these nuts and bolts don't fall out. Excellent. Excellent. Right. It is, I believe, sitting on there nicely. It's lifted a bit that side, and I don't know why that is. CCV is pressing there. Maybe that's not the right way for it. All right, get you in here. So I'm just seeing in here, something is, it's just lifted still. Now it might just be the fact that we've got to tighten it down, which I can live with. But when things don't fit perfectly, it makes me wonder. This side is fine. There's no lift on this side. Seems fine. It's just a slight bit of lift on this side. Oh, I know what it is. That airline. It's that you can't see. It's this airline is coming between the CCV pipe and the plenum, so I just have to move that. Hang on a minute. Okay, so I'm just preparing to put the air oil separator in. So this is the new one. The old one is over there. And I didn't have any issues with it, but I thought once the engine's out, it's worth doing. I think it's about 110 euros, so about 100 pounds. But that was a couple of years ago now. I'm just going to get this rag out and put it in. Okay, so I can't find the torque settings for the air oil separator, but I'm just going to go with 10 Newton meters because essentially 10 is what everything else is. So I'm going to put a bit of thread locker on. I'm pretty much putting thread locker on everything I put back onto this engine. Oh, hang on a minute. Something in that thread there. Let me just go and get that out. Okay, so this is worth doing pretty much for all of these little bolts if you reuse them. I'm just cleaning up the threads using a, what was it called, a tap and die? I can't remember. But anyway, this is M6 by 1 mil. And I did pretty much all of the, like the, how would you say, like the bolt holes when I was doing the engine last week. But I didn't do any of the bolts themselves, which I guess I should have done because they're actually, you know, quite a bit of power is needed to go through here. And it is the right setting, don't worry, it is the right die. And it really does clean them up nicely. You can see this. I've just done that one and it's really sharpened it up beautifully, so that'll go into that hole much better now. Okay, so those two bolts looking a lot better. I'm just going to put some thread locker on now and put those in and tighten them down to, as I say, 10 Newton meters like the rest. Some people have so much more patience than I do. You know, I see some of you guys on YouTube and you've just got so much patience and you can do the job so much better if you have that patience, but I don't know, I just get quite frustrated if it takes too long. But at the same time, rushing things isn't good either, so I don't know, maybe I've sort of found a mix of not taking too long and not doing it too quickly, I don't know, but after 2.5 years almost, I just want to get this car done and back on the road. Right, so using the trusty Proxon torque wrench, it is set at 10 Newton meters and I don't know, maybe 10's too much for plastic. Oh, actually, no, that's fine. Right, that is in and that is done. That needs to actually go, I think, under there, doesn't it? Got to work that out. First feed is on here. Bolts are tightened. Ah, that one goes up there then. Yes, so that's got to come up. I've got this jumble of oh, hang on a minute. Haha. Yes, I think I've got to change that. Yeah, look at that. In fact, I'll do that now. I've got that. That needs to go under there like that. Whoops. And on you go. Cool. And they all come up there. And essentially, I don't know if you can see that, can you? Yeah. There's a sheath which goes around here with Velcro, and I haven't, it's disintegrated, so I've got to get another one. So if any of you got any tips on where I can get that, please let me know. But yeah, acts as a heat shield, I think, also for keeping those all pipes together. I don't know. But yeah, so I'm just going to nip down and go and put the third and I think final coat on those brake calipers and the fuel rail, the clear coat on the fuel rail. Okay, so I'm just fitting the other section of the oil separation system. So I've cleaned all the, gaskets out. Oh, he says actually, that one I didn't. I just put oil over it. Hang on a minute. Let me just. So I have now cleaned those gaskets out and I'm going to put some oil on them. Just help them get fitted. Now let's have a look. It's dripping on a little bit. No, wrong way around. That goes in there. So that one in there, click. That one, well, that one goes in there. It's a bit tight. I wonder why that's so tight. It just is, that's why. Right, so let me get this out. Oh, brilliant. There we go. Let's get some WD-40 in there. Over there. That we're all good. Yeah, this is, I must say, a really exciting part of the build, you know. Putting stuff back together. So just to get you in here, this is the one, the Jubilee clip I was talking about. So, and I've done those all over the engine and all over the car. This is the connector I just connected. This one, and then this one. So just to give you a look at the engine so far, obviously the fuel rail's got to go back in. And here's the front, or the back of the engine, I guess. I don't know, it's one of those things, you don't really see these engines out much, and if you've got one of these cars, it's really interesting to actually see what's going on these engines. Oil cooler, rear main seal, air oil separator, which, as I said, you know, it's quite a common problem with these cars. High mileage, they tend to go and the engine then smokes, and everybody thinks, oh my God, I've got piston damage, you know, bore score or something, but actually it's only this. So this is preventative maintenance, changing this air oil separator. Knock sensor here. These are the new gaskets I put in when I put the cover back on. I've got to fix this. I think that is the power steering fluid, so I've got to fix that back in. I also want to paint this, I think it's the AC compressor, flywheel or pulley. I want to press, you know, clean that. But otherwise, that's what the engine looks like. Okay, so I've put the third and final coat on the calipers and on the fuel rail. So I'm going to leave them here overnight, and I think they are looking spectacular. I'll have to see tomorrow whether my trick with the Porsche sign has worked. Basically what I'm going to do is take this off, clean up any overspray, and then clear coat it. Okay guys, so I'm packing up now for the day. I just went down and did the third and final coat on the calipers and the fuel rail. It's nice and warm in that building down there, so they'll be nice and dry tomorrow. As you've seen just now, I've put a few more things back on the engine. But I'm going to leave that now because I'm going out this evening, and I need to get home because time flies and it's already getting dark outside. And I'm on the bike today. So I'm going to cover this up. I'm not going to clear up today because I'm back up tomorrow, but I'm going to lock up and I'll see you tomorrow. See you later.